Well, good morning, gentlemen. We are doing a rewatch of last night's first game. The teams are, as we look at it, Barzy, McKean, Spencer, and young Taylor Stevens versus Joel, myself, Lozzypans, and of course, MVP Austin Vansquake. As we look at this, we see that Barzy is getting ready. We got 4.5 minutes till treaty drop. He's building his what are those? Not markets. Got trade cards. He's got his trade cards going. He's getting his upgrades. He's got a bunch of stone. I thought this was interesting, and I'd like to hear his feedback. Barzy, why the 5 town centers right here? Like, is that so you can have it all centralized and that way you can better protect one spot? Or I just, when I build my town centers, I got one here. I got this one here that is actually building for gold, but I build my town centers towards the resource that I want. So town centers towards wood, that guy's towards gold, this guy's for food. I have another one somewhere that's also for food. Either way, so I thought that was very interesting, the 5 here instead of spreading them out, and I don't know, I'd like to hear more on the thought process behind that. So that's Barzy. He's sitting at 37, 38, and 47, getting a lot more gold. A little low, if I'm being honest, but I'm sure that he's able to pick it up. Jake McKean sitting at no gold. Definitely needs to up his gold. He's built a ton of houses, though. He's not going to get pop capped. And what, 45, 32? Yeah, that number needs to go up. It's probably because he's playing Korean and Koreans. And I know when I first started playing Koreans, it felt weird. And they're just a little bit different. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that that's why he looks so far behind. We've got Spencer as the Goth sitting at 55, 52, and 28. These guys are probably all, at least I would assume that these guys are all going to go on food. That's what I would be putting them on, along with these guys. He's got a bunch of, he's got 42 idle villagers. Like, holy cow, Spencer. Let's get those guys doing other stuff. And of course, young Taylor Stevens, 35, 60, and 70, getting even more, just kind of praying for the drop. On the other side, we see Joel is at 40, 43, and 43, so he's way ahead of Jake right now, like miles ahead of Jake, which, they're kind of playing similar roles in this game. Then we look at Larry. Larry's at 70, 52, and 70. And myself, I'm at 80, 42, and 80. And you can see I'm getting more as we're going. I want so much with this game. And then, of course, Austin Vansquake, the man who, until yesterday, could never lose. 52, 46, 45. Looking pretty good. I know that he says during the game that he's struggling, but it worked out. We see on the other side, Barzy is walling off right now. We'll go to normal speed. Their trade's getting ready. I want to keep it on Barzy because I think he gets hit first. So we see that they're walling off. Got about 45 seconds left. Barzy's just barely building military. You see that Spencer's got his forward barracks over here, and Taylor's walling off, kind of getting ready. Looks like he's thinking in the corner as well. There's the trade. On the other side, we got Joel. He's got some castles set up. He's cutting forward into this corner towards them. Very interesting. See how that plays out for him, Cotton. We didn't wall this off. That was a mistake, but it works out for us. I'm building my military buildings right now. Treaty is actually up. Turns out. Oh, those are Joel's. Sorry, my military buildings are right here. I'm actually pretty ready to go. Other than I need to build military buildings. Larry is cutting right now, and let's speed it up just a little bit because I want to watch Larry cut. So as Larry's cutting on the other side, I am cutting as well. And we see that Jake has flagged it. Turn this on. Let's turn on military view as well. So we see that that they know that I'm cutting over here and they're prepping for it. Or I think they do. Let's turn off on a wall. No, they don't know. We just happen to be thinking the exact same spot. While that's going on, Larry cuts through. Larry gets in. Kaput. I'm going to slow this down just a little bit because this is big. You see that Barzy's going to do a full turn. Jake's going to go and support. Jake, pro tip when playing the Koreans, these war wagons are only good against archers. Other than that, they're kind of a worthless unit. I really don't like the war wagons personally. Maybe I'm weird. You can talk to Larry. He often plays the Koreans. He probably has played them more than I have. But I know that when I play Koreans, I do not like going as the... I don't like their war wagons. The reason I like them is for their onagers. These guys right here. This is their money unit. And that's how I play them personally. So we see Barzy is just throwing everything over here. Austin does a plunge immediately. And this is going to get in and start hitting stuff over here. I wonder what would have happened if Spencer, if Taylor had, pushed up this middle right here instead of trying to cut where he does. So Larry castle drops immediately. Austin's throwing in stuff. We see that there's a lot of military back here in prep. Austin's got some cavalry going. Looks like he's just trying to go again. We got a bunch of villagers. A lot of idle villagers. I love it. What's going on over here? They're probably saying, it's a bottleneck, what are you doing to Toledo's? You've cut off our trade. I can hear Taylor saying it now. So, see here, Larry's got his halberdiers going. Hand cannoneers. Austin's dropping castles everywhere. And let's keep going back to the middle here. This middle, just so you know, although intense, was extremely boring. Basically, the whole fight goes from here to here, and it looks like this the whole game. Like very little happens over here. On the other side, Taylor is like, I am going to not just roll over and die. Let's see your photo logo. Can you see? Okay, I can't see that yet. Okay, also worth noting, Barzy's got 100 trade cards, so he got gold, and Austin has gotten into the juicy belly of Barzy and just wrecked him. Meanwhile, Taylor's trying to do a plunge. Doing that. Boom, boom. I'm gonna turn my war off. Austin over here shutting this down is really big. Meanwhile, Larry's just trying to hold. Taylor's getting ready to turn and cut. I'm losing stuff here in the front. It's funny because I was screaming, not funny, but you can see Joel's like sending troops over here because he had it spawned up to the wrong spot. But we were screaming at Joel, Joel, you need to be here, Joel, you need to be there, Joel, where are you, Joel? Everything. That's what's going on our side. Meanwhile, I'm sure that they were screaming as well. Jake's got a bunch of these war wagons going. Just not the unit you want. Austin has said, okay, we're going to start castle dropping. Larry moves forward with his castle. We got Taylor over here. Taylor has not cut through yet. I keep thinking, oh, he's gonna. So Joel shows up, and just in the nick of time that I had, it was starting to get dire. But it is what it is. Does he cut? Does he? Okay, so now Taylor's going. Does he have? He doesn't even have any infantry. Cutting, or not any cavalry. He's in, but he doesn't have the plunge to go with. Oh, there goes the plunge right there. That's so. Taylor's going. Let's speed this up just a little bit. Boom, 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 boom. So this is big. This is almost game ending. So we're screaming at this point. Joel, you have to full turn over here. I'll be okay over here. So I do that. Taylor changes the narrative. Excuse me. He gets through the wall. He's killing the castles. We're sending troops as fast as we can. But is it enough? Meanwhile, Taylor's pretty much locked this down. But Larry's and Austin are, doing terrible things. Looks like Austin's gonna. Is he gonna lose these villagers? He might lose these villagers. Meanwhile, back on the other side, Taylor's just going crazy on the trade. Again, I'm still just holding over here. Spencer's been bringing up these guys, which are pretty good at countering me, honestly. But, it is what it is. Meanwhile, Taylor's in the trade. He's killing the villagers. Doing the stuff. Joel's got... So Joel brings all these units in. It essentially shuts down Taylor plunging, but Taylor's got a lot of troops in. And is doing, terrible things. Terrible things. All of the terribles. So, again, Taylor's got troops over here. Taylor is now in Larry's base. Larry was not happy about it. He was very mad. Joel does this and just stops the fight. He just stops that bleeding, puts an end to it. And it's amazing his troops makes. He goes, halberdier. Well, actually, those are my halberdiers, but I think he's got halberdiers as well. I don't know. Either way, but he goes bombard cannons. He's got hand cannoneers. He's got archers. Got a lot going on there. Meanwhile, Taylor is still wrecking our trade. Seems that Varzy's still pretty intact. He's got 80 still going and 34 and 33. Let's look at Larry himself at this point, because Larry's been hit. Larry's down to 21 and 50 sitting pop cap, so Larry's still pretty intact. I'm at 54. At one point I was at 100. I've lost half. You can see I'm dueling a bunch to redo the damage that's been done. And my food has just been destroyed by Taylor. You see that Taylor is now... Oh, he's hitting me. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Taylor's trying to end me. Which is a good call. Again, like I was saying, this was a crazy fight that stayed just all right here. But Spencer just threw everything he could at me, and I was just eating it. Meanwhile, Joel's kind of going back up the hole. Austin, his castle dropped at this point. Let's see here. Holden in the middle. Meanwhile, okay, so we finally have cleared out Taylor at this point. Austin's doing mini plunges. Let's see how people are going. How's Barzy doing? He's kind of the front. So Barzy's numbers have dropped 28, 27, 61. So things are dropping over there. Over here in the middle, we see that that the Goth plunge has continued. Oh man, he's destroying some of my... These towers were really big. I think that they were super helpful in this game, if I'm being honest. Taylor's over here trying to be on... He's trying to fight on two sides at once, which is really impressive. Skirmishers. Thought we talked about this, guys. They're a fine unit that everything kills. I mean, I guess he is going up against archers, so, little column A, little column B. Spencer is throwing so much stuff at me, and it's just like, well, I will eat you. But then these guys come up, and they're just crazy. Meanwhile, got Barzy trying to, take out some stuff. Doing a good job of it. You see Larry gets into Barzy. Barzy clicks the button. Maybe that's what it is. It's for defensive purposes, because all of these TCs will defend each other with the arrows, and then you throw some castles in there. That is a resilient base. I like and he's trying to build walls to kind of keep people out. Maybe that's what it has to do with it. Taylor's fighting on two sides right now. And, went full skirmisher. And Joel does what he should have done, which is build cavalry to fight the skirms. It's a great idea. Meanwhile, we see that Jake is sending a bunch of... See, that's the unit. There it is, buddy. Those are what you want. And Austin's going full bore at this point. Austin at full speed is like a scary thing. It takes him a while to get there. But, man, when he is there, it is just like, whoa. So, that is game one. They give up the ghost, and they should have. Larry has a chokehold on the front. And Joel's cutting in on the side, and then they're getting nowhere over here. So it was time to call it. But it was a GG. When we look at the stats, as far as military scores goes, I ran away with that one. Larry with the 21, Taylor 17. That was a hard game for Taylor. I feel like he had to be in too many places. He was split. He was trying to fight on one side of the map, and then fighting on the other side of the map. And, hard game for Taylor. And Barzy getting punched in the face early on was just really detrimental. Kid handled it like a champion, though. Can't stress it enough. You gotta be ready at treaty drop, because if they show up, that's the game. And I think that was a big example of that. When we look at economies, here I had the most wood, Spencer had the most food. That's not a shocker. Larry had by far the most stone. Gold was me. Trade was me. Everyone was trading with everyone. Technology, Larry was cooking like a boss. Spencer with that fast feudal. Gotta get it. And 10 castles for Larry, 4 for Austin. Fun game, guys. Can't wait for our next one. GG.